Chainlink is in the process of confirming something that it has not done in almost over 2 years now, actually. And it can be confirmed as soon as today. And the reason why I really want to bring up Chainlink in this particular conversation is because Chainlink has actually been a good leading indicator in past cycles for the rest of the crypto market, namely Bitcoin, to kind of follow in its steps. So ultimately, Chainlink, is it going to reassume that sort of pole position? That's a real question, I suppose. But in the meantime, we can actually just look at Chainlink and well, there is a pretty incredible move in the process as of right now. So today is Sunday, obviously, which is the end of the weekly, and Chainlink is going to have a chance to do something again that it has not done in actually just under 2 years, and that is close above the 50% retracement level, which is 1663. Right now, it's trading literally $1 above that pivot. So, assuming that Chainlink does close here or higher, we would be expecting continuation on this current rally, and we would actually also see weekly stochastic momentum turn back onto the upside above 1721, all within the context of a very, very low volatility environment. So that would imply that this consolidation over here, this one that began basically in early November, is essentially done, and well, it's ready to roll yet again. Now, of course, it's a long day left to go. It's 16 hours, 25 minutes, and 31 seconds and counting, but as of right now, it's above that pivot and looking pretty damn good into the weekly closure here. So as I go through my notes here, I do want to make sure that I hit everything. Yeah, now we can go into some statistics that do kind of extrapolate the overall picture here. So we can see on the weekly time frame, with particular attention to the run up and run down statistics. Jesus Christ, man, I cannot fucking speak today. It is really, really annoying. I missed like 20 minutes of sleep according to my sleep monitor, and I'm completely wrecked, completely inept. But in this case, what I'm trying to say is that the weekly run up and run down statistics, which essentially just calculate the consecutive closures that we typically see on average, and then give an 84% rank, and then also a maximum reading, have shown that on average, whenever you do see a green closure, you typically get them in threes. So as you can see right here for the weekly, Chainlink is actually in the process of potentially closing its first green weekly, or first cyan weekly, first positive weekly after a red weekly. So that would imply that it's quite likely that we do see at least another week, maybe another 2 weeks, to kind of get up to the average there of continuation. To put things in perspective, things start to get a little bit more on the outlier end when it's around 5, I would say. We would expect, really not too many of these consecutive weekly closures to really follow in suit like that. But ultimately, when we do get one green weekly, typically they do come in batches of 3. And again, that is an average. So there's going to be some a little bit lower, some a little bit higher, but a little bit lower would be 2, obviously, and a little bit higher would be about 4 or 5. So realistically, this alongside a potential closure of the 50% range, 50% level, would imply that, hey, the breakout very likely does fall through. Again, with volatility looking like this, that is a potential for a real breakout actually here. And then we can start to really talk about, well, what would the targets be? And for that, I want to bring you back here to my good old friends, maybe your good friends too, Senor Bing and Mr. Bong. And as you can see, for the weekly time frame, Chainlink is going to have a chance to close back above the median band here. It's not really a band, but just the median on the weekly HPDR bands. And if that does happen, very likely we do see another test towards the top side of the blue 50% of historic returns range highs, maybe even the 61.8. But for reference, the 50% level would be 20, actually pretty much right on $20 right there, just a few cents lower actually. And the 61.8 would be 22.13. So somewhere between like 20 and 22 would kind of the next areas of interest, perhaps over the next week or two, kind of playing in the average, what we would expect for the run up and run down stats right here. Again, assuming that all of this does close above these relevant regions today for the weekly closure, most importantly. So going back on over here, where's the median? It is actually at 1456. So it's looking pretty likely that Chainlink does close above it. But of course, one thing before the next. Don't really want to get too ahead of ourselves right there, as my voice kind of almost leaves me. I just ate a shit ton of honey, by the way. It's really, really good. And also, we can generate a few other potential targets based upon this, just based upon this little consolidation right here. I'm sure a lot of people call this like a flag or a channel or whatever the hell. At the end of the day, we could just pull some fib extensions for this one. And as you can see, we have all the $20 numbers right here. But I would be paying specific attention to the 2-spot extension from this, as typically when you do see a consolidation, a lot of the time it's just the width of the consolidation that you can kind of generally target around that breakout. And so that would actually be pointing to target somewhere around about 24.36. So again, all of this is really contingent upon Chainlink's ability to close above that 50% level today. If it does, all of these are essentially, I guess, more likely than not in the coming few weeks, really. And until then, it's going to be a long 16 hours, 21 minutes and 3 seconds to go. But as of right now, good. If Chainlink does close below, let's say that there's a sell-off before the end of the weekly here. So let me get rid of this one. And let's say that Chainlink closes below the 50% level, as you can see right here, 1663, which again, right now it's actually trading just under $1 above. But if that were to happen, then no breakout confirmed, still in a consolidation stance. This consolidation actually would still have likely a bullish twist to it, but the key ingredient of that would be that Chainlink must remain above the January lows right here, which is about 12 and a half, a little bit above 12 and a half bucks. If Chainlink starts to lose that, then you can probably say goodbye to the majority of this rally right here. and it's probably coming back down, sub 10 if I had to guess, or at least to $10. But ultimately, first things first, right now, bulls do have the balls in their court and could spin off a pretty actually decent rally from there. I mean, for perspective, in a percentage stance, from the 50% level to, let's say, a $20 number, that's more than a 21.5% rally, which is significant. And that would be, just the next realistic target over the next couple of weeks. Doesn't mean it can't extend from there, as we did say. Realistically, I believe it was like 24 or something was a 2-spot extension, which would still be on the menu as well. That would be an implied target based off the consolidation. But still, one thing before the next. And of course, if Chainlink does this, I do think that it starts to really strengthen the case that Bitcoin may have actually already put in a low, which I still do think is unlikely. But if that happens, then I will have to start to really reconsider those sentiments. But it likely starts with Chainlink, just like what we did see in 2018, 2019, and then of course coming into the beginning of 2020 as well. So all of these things likely do play with each other. We can just quickly check on Bitcoin as well. Looking at the weekly right here for the index, I still look at this as likely distribution. I still look at this as likely to come down to the bottom side of the 50% of historic returns range lows, which is right now 36,600, but it's not going to happen this week. Probably not going to happen next week. If it's going to happen, you're looking most likely, as I bring up my calendar over here, starting the week of the 19th to the end of the month, if we are going to see real downside on Bitcoin. So fair game. Anyways, maybe we could go to the daily as well. Daily still looks like this is probably a local high right here, and probably comes back down to low 40,000s. Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, yeah, not too much, not really much new on Bitcoin, so that's why we're going to look at Chainlink today. It's more of an interesting chart, and we'll see if that relationship holds true. And even if not, Chainlink is in a significantly better posturing, as you can see. I mean, just comparing weekly to weekly, right? This weekly obviously potentially going to be closing on new highs, whereas Bitcoin's weekly nowhere near as of right now. So fair enough. I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. Nice and short and sweet on this one. As always, I want to wish you the best. I should also remind myself to say that if you find this content valuable, please do consider liking and subscribing. This light is too damn bright, and so I'm going to turn off this video and go drink some more caffeine to try to wake up on this nice little Sunday morning. So with that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully Monday with some new damn price action.